Robinson and Pearson hit the heels. Robinson, goal! Whitley Bay have scored. And it was Robinson at the second attempt of his who got the ball in the net. Peter Robinson. Free kick taken by Walker, and Robinson comes in first. The ball is headed out, and what happens here is that Pearson's shot just comes loose, and Robinson tucks that wide of the left hand. 33 minutes. Swan, Harper. Now it's Tony Dawson. Todd's made a very good run coming in from the far side if he can be found. Oh, and Pearson's there, and this is Todd! It's 2! It's 2-0 to Whitley Bay! Well, the excitement round the ground now, quite tremendous. It was a good enough move, and they had the extra man over, and they've made it 2-0. An hour gone, and Kevin Todd has sent this little ground on the Northumberland coast into sheer ecstasy. Patterson. Harper. No. Well, Little could have cleared that and didn't. Joyce. Oh, it's not. I was going to say it's a goal for Flynn. Well, how he missed that, I don't think he even knows. Mike Flynn on his debut was virtually given an open goal. Whitley Bay made their first really bad defensive error on the far side, and look at this. Oh, dear.
There's Overson. Marked by Tony English. Got the little flick on, Bailey! Oh yes, Cleghorn! Well, Colchester are in disarray and they're appealing for a handball. But Tony Ward's already sprinted back to the halfway line. Nigel Cleghorn's 4th goal of the season. And only 4 minutes gone. Well, it wasn't a handball they were appealing for, it was certainly an offside. And Tony Ward looked perfectly placed and didn't give it. Birmingham's travelling supporters in joyous voice on the far side. As Taylor gives his directions. But these are the last few throws of the dice for Colchester. Bailey. Oh, good pity he lost his balance. Ashley was blocked, but it's Bell who's broken. Now there are 2 to look for in the middle, Hopkins and Cleghorn. Hopkins missed it, Cleghorn didn't. Nigel Cleghorn's 2nd goal of the match. And that goal, Birmingham 2nd, comes in injury time to guarantee their place in the 3rd round draw. Hopkins couldn't quite reach, and Cleghorn did really well to pull it back from there.
Darlington are showing form in the FA Cup that reflects their confident season in the Vauxhall Conference. Drew Coverdale was their Mr. Unlikely against Halifax. The former Middlesbrough player, number 3 in the white shirt, opened the scoring by drilling a hole in the Halifax wall. Drew is really the club's physio, who played only because Frank Gray was injured. Coverdale was upstaged for a bit by fellow fullback Les McJanet, whose flourish at the finish was worthy of Dennis Law. But then it was Coverdale again, offering a tap-in for John Borthwick. And after a 3-0 win, guess who the former Middlesbrough man fancies next?
I'd like to play against Middlesbrough, yeah. That would be nice. Either their place or I'll bring them here, or a top First Division club, anything like that.
Bishop Auckland were away to Crewe, and early in the second half, the Bishops, in blue, took the lead with Brian Healy's shot from the edge of the penalty area. doubt about that. But if that set them wondering about tonight's draw, a handball decision 2 minutes later soon concentrated their minds. The deep cross seemed to be headed out of harm's way, but then the linesman had no doubt. And though Andy Fothergill may have been disappointed, the replay suggests pretty firm contact. Aidan Murphy's penalty meant both sides could look forward to the news from Lancaster Gate, and the Bishops can look forward to home advantage in Wednesday's replay. There were 4,500 spectators at Cardiff, but if they looked lost on the terraces, Gloucester City in yellow found their way in dazzling style for Steve Tallboys to score. Wayne Noble and Lance Morrison shared credit for the assist. The second was more basic, started by Morrison, finished with relish by Chris Townsend, 2-0. That's how it stayed until 7 minutes from time when Jeff Chandler took over. Maurice Scott met the pass to prove Gloucester didn't have a monopoly on spectacular goals. Chandler again 4 minutes later. Steve Lynex's header and Maurice Scott crashes in his second. Scott's not quite 19 and this was his first time in the starting lineup. Aylesbury United went to Northampton hoping to reach the third round for the first time. They're in green and white, and it was there Simon Mason who came closest to scoring with a shot against the post. Otherwise, Aylesbury defended well, but there was no cricket score at the county ground. It finished 0-0. Basingstoke were one up against Torquay United in the first minute. Barry Blankley gave the boys in blue a head start. The stuff of non-league dreams indeed. Shortly before half-time, though, Torquay pressure earned its reward. When the ball comes back off the post, Matthew Elliott bounces. Just after the interval, Mark Loram was played in for a shot that Nigel Mottishead helped over the line. Five minutes later, it was Loram again, this time unaided by opponents, making it 3-1. Clarkson's header in the last minute gave Basingstoke thoughts of what might have been. But it was Torquay who went home to wait for what will be. Hereford United entertained Merthyr Tydfil with some trepidation, but Colin Robinson's goal for Hereford, there in white, suggested they could improve on their poor record against raiders from over the border. Mark Jones was then put through by Robinson for 2-0. And that was the half-time score. But now, who says individual enterprise has been drilled out of our footballers? This is Paul Tester setting off on a run that culminates in a goal that may come to rank with Ronnie Radford's against Newcastle back in the early 70s. However, the Welsh Dragon suddenly began to breathe fire. David Webley pulled one back. Two minutes later, Ian Thompson scored a second. But Hereford resumed control to the extent that a missed penalty wasn't relevant in the end. Woking were another non-league club who had a fruitless journey. They're in red shirts. Mike Cheetham put Cambridge United in charge here with a goal after 13 minutes. All round the country, it was a day of outstanding marksmanship. Chris Ledbetter, who started this move, finished it with a shot as accurate as it was ambitious. He looks up, and there's no accident about this. Woking may have been outscored, but they were not outplayed. Here's another quality goal. Lloyd Wise centre, Paul Mulvaney's final touch. But Cambridge had already missed a penalty when Alan Kimball set off on a run that ended with John Taylor making it Cambridge 3, Woking 1.